Hey everybody, welcome back to the wood shop. Out of all the projects you've seen us finish in the past, we've always done them by hand or with a brush, whether it be paint or stains or Danish oil or whatever. But now we've decided to venture into the world of paint sprayers.
We picked this one up at Harbor Freight. It's relatively inexpensive. This is the Central Pneumatic 20-ounce HVLP gravity spray gun. So we're going to unbox this, show you what comes with it, and in just a little bit, we're going to take it for a test drive. Stick around.
Alright, here we go. Looks like we have an instruction manual.
Be sure you keep these handy, especially if you're new to any kind of tool. You want to make sure you read the instructions to see how the manufacturer intends for the tool to be used.
Now here is the paint cup.
This is a 20-ounce paint cup, and it says it's intended for low viscosity paints, lacquers, enamels, stains, varnishes, and urethanes. So as we get this set up, we'll determine whether or not our product needs to be thinned out.
And then we have our paint gun.
This comes with a 1.4 millimeter nozzle. It's got some adjustments on there. Looks like for your volume control and your fan size.
And some cleaning accessories, a little brush, and this looks like some sort of filter or something here.
We'll be sure to read the manual and see exactly how everything goes together and what those little parts are for. So let's go ahead. I'm excited to see how this is going to make staining and painting so much easier.
Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is connect this fitting to the bottom of the sprayer here, and it doesn't come with this. You have to get this separate, and I guess the reason it don't come with it is because they recommend you put a pressure regulator on here, and we don't have one right now, so I'm going to go ahead and just install this little fitting for now. Need some Teflon tape. Alright, step number 2 is to install this fluid filter into the fluid inlet and screw on the cup. Alright, now that we've got our sprayer all put together, we'll go ahead and go over some of the controls. Hook up some air pressure. Now, this is the air volume control down here at the bottom. You can see if you screw this all the way to the right, you get no air at all. And as you start to screw it to the left, I'll hold the trigger down, and you can see the pressure increases as it comes out. Now this is the fluid volume control, and the farther you turn this to the left, the more fluid is allowed to come down into the mixture. Now I'm going to test this with just some plain water. Water is really thin, so you're not going to need a whole lot of fluid volume. Now my guess is the thicker your fluid is, the more you're going to need to add to the mixture. So we're going to keep this set pretty low for water. And the control at the top is the actual fan pattern control. The farther you have this turned to the right, the tighter the stream is. And when you pull it out to the left, you get a more fan pattern. So we'll go ahead and test this out with some water, and we'll see what we get. Okay, now we've got some water in here, and you should be able to see the pattern widen as I turn this to the left. See how it fans out. And we have some contractor paper, if you notice, taped to the wall here. And we're going to shoot a pattern on there. That way you can see. We'll tighten this all the way down And this should be all the way to the circular. That's as tight as it gets. You can see it's just around. Now the further we turn this out to the left, the more of a fan pattern we'll get. We'll just go all the way. You see you've got this whole fan pattern. And that's pretty much how this operates. You can tighten this down. We'll go about halfway. And you get a shorter fan. So it's pretty simple.
Alright, the finish we're going to be using today is Minwax Wood Finish. It's a semi-transparent color stain, and this is just in white. And we're not real sure if this is going to be thin enough for the sprayer, but let's pull that stick up out of there. Looks kind of thick. Give it another dip there and let's see. It's 5 times thicker than ordinary stain, so it might be a little too viscous. We'll go ahead and give it a try though, and if we need to thin it with some water, we'll come back and do that. Alright, we decided to thin out our wood stain just a little bit. It is 5 times thicker than regular stain. So all we did was just use some bottled water to thin that out. Before you put it in the cup, make sure you use a little filter just to kind of strain out any things you don't want in there. That's especially important if you've had some products sitting for a while. You know, it can kind of clump up in places and you don't want that in your sprayer. So be sure you do that as you're pouring the paint into the cup.
Now the manual says to keep your pressure regulator on your compressor set at 90 pounds and your regulator at the gun set at 45. Was it 45?
Yeah.
Now, since we don't have a regulator on this end, we just set the compressor to 40 pounds and we'll see how that goes.
Now before we get started, we're going to get some safety gear, a mask, some gloves, goggles. Make sure you protect yourself as you're spraying any kind of chemicals out of a spray gun. Alright, as you can see, that sprayer made quick work of applying a sort of whitewash to this piece of walnut. You can see what it originally looked like, and with the stain applied. It's something that we wouldn't have normally thought to do, especially with walnut, because it's such a pretty color. But I kind of like the whitewash on it. It's something, now that we've tried it, I might want to do on a future project.
Well, now if you're wondering why all of these wooden stars are laid out here, if you've not guessed already, we are getting ready to build an American flag. That's going to be our next project, so make sure you check that out when we get that video done. And we are going to stain these stars with the white stain, and we figured, you know, since we're staining stuff anyway, we might as well go ahead and do this now. Okay, now I have the spray pattern set about halfway between the circular and the fan pattern. Now, my main concern here is, will the air pressure start blowing these all over the place, or will they stay where they're sitting? I guess that question's answered.
Alright, as you can see, we've got all 50 of our stars painted. All I had to do was pick them up after they'd sat under the stain for a little bit, and I just blotted them with a synthetic brush, a sponge brush, and so these are ready to go for our flag build.
Well, I've got to say, cleanup on this, it's really easy, and I'm one of those people that really hates to clean up paint. I really hate that. But I cleaned up the cup real good. Just depends on what you're spraying, whether you're using water-based or oil-based. If you're using water-based like we just did, soap and water, you're good. If you're using an oil-based stain or something like that, you want to go with mineral spirits. But I just cleaned up the cup, take off the nozzle, clean all up in there, and then I filled up the cup maybe a quarter of a way with some soap and water, took it back to the compressor, and just sprayed it out. And I have to say, it's pretty clean.
We're really excited about this sprayer. We only spent about 26 bucks on it. It was on sale. This is for some thinner finishes. It says, you know, suitable for low viscosity paints, lacquers, enamel stains, varnishes, and urethanes. We did have to thin this out just for reference. We use Minwax wood finish. It's a semi-transparent color stain for wood, 5 times thicker than regular, so we did thin this out with some water. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased. We've got our stars ready for our flag build, so like we were saying, if you want to check that out, be sure to subscribe because that is coming up.
If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Catch us on Facebook and check out our website, woodsongsbyrussell.com.
And until next time, happy woodworking!